Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How are you? A big mahalo for tuning in. Today we are joined on the line by one of music's most beloved and cherished bassists. On October 6th, he and his pioneering band will be returning to Hawaii for a single date at the Blaisdell Arena here in Honolulu. My guest and his brother Maurice created a unique hybrid of funk, R&B, rock, jazz, African flavors, and soul into a sound of their own. They're on the international cultural map, if you will, for songs that generations of people are familiar with and love, and in many ways, they're part of the very core of music's vanguard of mass appeal artists. It's a great pleasure to welcome bass monster, brother of Maurice, Earth, Wind, and Fire's Verdine White. Aloha and mahalo, my brother.
How are you? How you doing, man? How are you? Nice to talk to you this morning.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much. I appreciate getting to speak with you again, and we really do. We're grateful for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you were here. I've been taking a look at some of the Earth, Wind, and Fire Hawaii history. You were at the arena in the last few years, and
right.
Of course, you probably recall playing the Diamond Head Crater celebration in '07, I guess it was, inside remember that outdoor crater?
That's right. Exactly.
In the volcano. But I have this loyal listener and local rock historian, Steve, the mystery emailer, and he tells me he thinks your first ever local show here in the islands was in March of 1975 at the Waikiki Shell. He said it was a benefit for local environmental protection.
That's right.
You remember that?
I remember that.
What sticks out in your mind?
Well, that was one of the first times we had ever been to Hawaii. I think it was the first time I had ever been to Hawaii. And, of course, it was a great experience, great experience,
So you had never come on your own prior to that?
No, well, that was the beginning of our career, and, we were sort of kind of getting it together. So we didn't, I didn't do as much social traveling at that time,
Sure.
Because it was early 70s for us, And I remember it was a great experience. And then, of course, recently, when we played in 2007, that was great. And then a few years prior to that, we played the Blaisdell Arena, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, that's cool that you have had that long history here, and you're really loved in the islands, probably because the islands embrace softer sort of sounds. They embrace melodic sounds. They embrace vocals. Have you ever thought about what it was, the ingredients that made you just such a welcome musical act here in the islands?
I never thought about it like that until you brought it up like that. I guess we always thought it was about pretty much the music in general, that they are embracing from us,
Sure. But then when I mention those similarities, I guess it does. It paints you can see sort of why. Because certain bands, Tower of Power, Hall and Oates, I mean, different bands that have that sort of melodic sound. America. With that acoustic sort of thing. So EWF also sort of fits into that. Do you ever come here, Verdine, just to vacation when you're not performing?
I haven't had to. I haven't had time to because we've been pretty much busy. But I did take a vacation there a few years ago, and we were there like about almost a month, and because my sister at the time lived there, so I was there for about a month when we did take a holiday. Yeah.
Where in the islands was your sister living?
I was right in Honolulu. I was right there in Honolulu.
And you spent a whole month there.
A whole month, hanging out and then seeing friends and going to Duke's and everything over there.
That's great. So you even have friends that live in the community, I'm guessing. Wow, what a nice thing to have out here. And your sister, I'm assuming, no longer lives here from the way you described it?
No, she's back here now. She's back in Los Angeles now.
Okay. That's cool. Right now in Earth, Wind, and Fire history, contemporarily, you have something new that's happened. What role have you had, or members of the band had, with the recent newly mastered Columbia Records titles?
Well, first of all, those titles are fantastic, and
yes,
it's all of the albums rolled into one, and it'll give you all the experiences that you want, and also at the same time we're putting out our own headphones, a collection of inner ear headphones as well as over ear headphones called Gratitude, which will give you an opportunity to really listen. And so we're working on new music, of course, and and we just got home yesterday after doing a few dates with the orchestra. So we've been doing a lot of great things. EWS has been doing a lot of great things.
Yes, you have. Let me. There's a couple things in there I want to hear more about. First, I guess the headphones. How did you guys come up to do? You've been innovators for your whole career, but what was it that led to you doing these Gratitude headphones? And describe them a bit.
Well, the same people that did the beats, Dr. Dre's beats, came to us. Noel Lee out of Monster Cable had a great idea about doing Earth, Wind & Fire headphones, which was a brilliant idea, and we've been working on them for the last year. So it just really, it's going to turn out really great, and we saw a copy of them, and they'll be out in November. So we're looking forward for everybody to start to get those headphones,
And have you actually tried some listening?
I got them on right now. I got the inner ears on right now.
Oh, that's cool. You're using them for this call.
Mm-hmm. And you, as you can tell, they're clear as a bell.
Yeah, you sound like it. I like that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of you on that. What's the? Give me some insight into the orchestra tip. Tell the folks out here.
It originally started last year with the Hollywood Bowl, where we performed with the 83-piece orchestra with the LA Philharmonic, which turned out great, and it was just really, really fantastic.
What led to you doing an orchestra project? Is it just so you were trying to do some things you hadn't done yet, or what was it?
Well, it was an idea that came about from the Hollywood Bowl and our management, and it just turned out really good. And then we decided to do it in other parts of the country, which we did the other night in Atlanta, which was fantastic. And the audiences, they not only clap, they scream. They just really scream when they hear that orchestra with us.
Oh, I can imagine it must beef up some of those tunes. They just lend themselves really to to that sort of arrangement. How much? So do you use local musicians in each of the markets, or is it one band?
That's true. Yeah, you use local orchestras, and then we have one conductor, Charles Floyd, which was great, fantastic.
So you bring your conductor, he works with the local folks.
That's right.
How much of prep time is needed to be able to integrate and get the bit down when you're working with like 83 musicians?
There was always the prep time of a day or so ahead, and we work out all the parts, and then of course the rehearsals are a couple hours on the day of the show to get it right. But once we hit the show, it's just really fantastic.
I can imagine. Now, I'm assuming from our discussion so far, that's not what's going to be happening here at the Blaisdell.
No, we won't do that there. We're going to do our rock and roll show. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do, my brother. Who puts together, speaking of your rock and roll show, who puts together this set list? And if you would, describe for me where you think personally the band's at now in terms of the structure, sound, and song selection of an Earth, Wind & Fire show.
Well, pretty much, it's a collaborative effort, and in terms of the show, a lot of the show ideas at this particular point, Philip Bailey's been spearheading that and helping us direct the show and putting all the different pieces together and giving us all our marks, and because he's a great director in doing all of those things, really great. And in terms of the songs, we've sort of figured out the songs as a basic set, and kind of figured out as we go along. But mostly, it's all the good music, and depending on the audience, we will switch up.
Are you conscious to try to rearrange the set list through the years so that repeat audiences get a fresh take of the songs?
Well, it all depends. Yeah, you do move them around, but you'll find your audiences really like. They don't like you tinkering a little bit. They don't like you tinkering a lot with what they want to hear. They pretty have a sort of a set view and the set songs they would like to hear, and then we'll throw in a couple of new things. The one thing about it is, in our case, a lot of the older fans are bringing their children, and they're bringing their friends. So we try to make it happy for them. Overall.
That's a great point you mentioned. I've had this discussion with everybody in the musical spectrum, from guys in KISS to Chris Christopherson. When it comes to making new music today, it can be difficult. You sort of put your finger right on it. The audience comes, and they basically, for most of the audience, wants to hear the hits. So is it difficult to integrate the new songs in there?
Well, you have to know how to integrate them. You have to see, first of all, do you need to integrate them? You know what I mean? Depending on what the audience is, and depending on how much patience they may have, in listening to new material, in a 2.5 hour show.
So the show you're bringing to the Blaisdell is 2.5 hours.
It'll be about it's going to be at least 2. It'll be about at least 2.
And kind of describe for folks. So you're saying basically this set list that's coming here is going to be almost all hits, but there will be a chance to hear some new music.
Yeah, there might be a little bit, just come in, because we might change up. We might, not do any new material. It all depends. Once we see where the audience is at, then we'll know exactly what we do. But basically, they're going to have a good time. They don't need to worry. It ain't that deep. Let's just have a good time, It ain't that deep. It ain't that deep.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You, when you played for Obama at the White House, what songs did you drop in for him, and share with us that very special experience? Well,
first of all, it was a special experience meeting him, and he considers us his favorite band of all time, and we went over the set list with him, what he wanted to hear, and he wanted to hear Reasons, he wanted to hear Boogie Wonderland, he wanted to hear September, he wanted to dance, so it was really all he picked the songs that night, but it was a wonderful experience working with him, and being, it was, It was great. It was great.
Where were you hanging out, picking the songs with him?
In the East Room. He came to rehearsal. He came to our rehearsal. And it was just great. We took pictures, and it was just overall it was a great experience.
You've met so many famous people and have had such an incredible life. Where does that rank in the celebrity sort of, or important people sort of encounters that you've had?
Oh, he's number one. No doubt, number one, no doubt. I mean, historical purposes and what that election meant to us, and what that moment meant to us, and all of us in the whole world. And the fact of it is that he thought enough of us to bring us there,
include you in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And know, of course, he has a very special. I ask you all these things about it, not only because it's a great topic, but he's our Honolulu boy. So we have
exactly, of course.
We have real pride that somebody from the islands was able to make it to the most important position, and there he is. His number one band is EWF. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I wonder if he was at one of those early Blaisdell shows, Verdine.
I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was back in the day, and I'm sure he was at our show in college too, when he was in college too.
Right, I bet he was. Mm-hmm. Something that he probably appreciated, and certainly something you were known for in the past, at least, was elaborate stage productions. Are you still doing stuff like lasers and pyro, elevating platforms, that sort of thing?
No, we don't do that. We haven't done that in quite some time. Not to say we won't do it eventually again, but we haven't done that in quite some time. But mostly what you hear now is music, and it's still a great show. So it's you're going to have a great time.
No, I have no doubt, and I can imagine that was an era for sure that you were in. But something about that era, which I think you deserve credit for, and a lot of people may not know, including myself, until just recently reading this, and I'm hoping you can tell me a little insight. Magicians Doug Henning and David Copperfield were working with EWF on that impressive show?
That's right. Doug did the first big show. We called it the Tube Show, and then David Copperfield came a few years later. Yes, we worked with both of those great artists. Of course, Doug Henning has passed away since, of course. But they were great artists in their own right as magicians, we had a lot of fun working with them.
What led to these powerful, as you say, very impressive magicians getting involved with the band? What brought them to you?
Well, it's just, evolution. You start from point A and you get to point B, and then you come up with an idea saying, we want to try this. Why don't we try this? Why don't we do this? So that's how those things came about.
Man, it really led to a high-quality show. I'm sure fans who saw what was it, like a disappearing pyramid? I'm trying to remember all the crazy stuff.
Yeah, well, we call it the Pyramid Show. That was the Pyramid Tube Show, and actually that was a show that actually live put us on the map, in terms of visually.
And you give some credit for that to Doug, I guess.
Oh yeah, Doug's vision, my brother Maurice's vision, Philip Bailey's vision, my vision. We all put our visions together, and it worked out really beautifully.
Yeah, it's cool that you have that connection to these two legendary magicians, and it does explain why your shows had that element of magic in them, really. You did something that a lot of other people didn't have as good of a ride at, and that was you were part of the Sgt. Pepper's movie, and you turned it into one of the biggest hits of your career, and an enduring cover. Your impressions of the movie: good memories, bad memories? What do you think of it?
No, we just did a movie, and we did a record. And we hadn't been in a lot of movies, so in our whole career we've only been in 2 films. But out of those films came big records, That's Way the World, that was a film, and the Sgt. Pepper movie was a film. And out of it came 2 of the biggest records of our career.
Did you become friendly at all with any of the other musicians who were part of that?
Well, we just shot our scene on our day. When you're shooting movies, you might see a full film, and then you might just shoot on your day. So our day, it was just us. So I never even saw any of the other artists until the premiere.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Just checking, just because there were some other interesting cats like yourself.
Well, because we were traveling, and then we had to fly in and do our scenes, and then we had to leave. So we were pretty busy shooting our scenes to get it right. Because time is money in movies, so you only had a day to get it all in.
That's good stuff. I totally understand what you mean. Sometimes those things come and go like that. Do you have any? And you've gotten to do a lot of collaborative efforts. You've gotten to work with some famous productions. Do you have any recollections or impressions from getting to be around Dick Clark with the American Bandstand? You did the 30th anniversary in '81. Yeah. Was he there that night, emceeing it and stuff?
Yeah. Dick would come. Dick was, is always busy, so Dick would always come in, come out. But Dick was always cool. Dick was always very cool. Very cool.
He liked you guys, huh?
Oh yeah, he's from Philly, and we're from Chicago originally. So Dick was always very cool. He understood what it was about, and Dick was really great to work with.
Man, maybe that's why I like EWF so much. I'm from Philly too, Verdine.
Okay, cool, man, cool.
I'm cool. Drawing a connection. As we get ready to wrap it up with you, 2 final questions. Aside from the band Chicago, are there other performers, artists, bands that you'd like to try that sort of intergroup exploration with, like you've done with them?
We hadn't thought about it. Actually, the thing with Chicago is that it just came by accident. And we saw their show one night, they saw our show, and then we said we should do something together. So it just was one of those things that worked out. You never know how those things are going to work out. That's a magical combination that, whenever we do it, will always be magical.
And really, so it's a very organic thing. You guys just happen to see each other's show and then literally come up with this great bit?
Yeah, that was just us. It just turned out that way.
Man, that's something else. A lot of bands, that's an unusual thing to see 2 bands be able to interplay together on stage.
Well, and particularly that many people, a lot of people on stage, and it worked out beautifully.
You're right. It can get kind of messy. Almost like a George Clinton number of people up there.
Well, that's totally different. What George does is different than what that is, but it's but nevertheless, it worked out really great for EWF and Chicago. Yeah, I know. Great guys too.
Yeah, no, they're really sweet. I know what you mean with the George thing. That's like layering a bunch of different weird things all over, but still very impressive. And can I guess what I meant was at times it can get a little muddled. You're right. It can be difficult to put that many people together.
But with us it worked out. 2 horn sections. 2 musical type groups. Pop songs. And all of us. We have a tremendous amount of respect for each other's work too. That's a huge thing,
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, and great guys too. Every time we see each other, there's always a lot of hugs. It's just really, everybody's just cool with each other. Everybody loves each other.
What a nice thing. Yeah, that sounds like it. Or is there another group that you would, when you think of that, do you ever say to yourself, man, I would like to do that with fill in the blank here?
No, as I said earlier, you never know. Those things are just organic, as you said. Yeah.
Right, so it just may pop up again in the future with something.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
I like that. Well, my final point with you, Verdine, would just be that when you're in town here in Honolulu, we are the NPR station statewide here in the islands and listener-supported, reach a very large audience. We'd love to record, if around your schedule, of course, a short follow-up interview with you. Could be at the venue, the sound check, the hotel before your pickup to the gig in the lobby. It could be at our studios. Would it be possible to record just a short interview with you when you're here?
Yeah, let's do it. You know my publicist, Mark, of course.
Yep.
And so let's figure it out. All right.
Okay, but it sounds like something you'd be up for.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Yeah. We get a chance to meet me in person and all that stuff.
I would like that, and I hope you've enjoyed talking today. It meant a lot for me that you would take this time with me, Verdine. I don't treat your time lightly. It means a lot. You would do this.
Well, thank you so much. All right.
You're the man. I give you a big hug, and thank you again. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, Verdine.
Thank you, man. I'll see you over there, okay?
I look forward to it. It'll be nice to powwow with you. You be safe.
All right. You too. Aloha. See you then.
Aloha, brother.
Yeah, bye, brother.
Bye.